Alright, it's not showing up for me, but I think we're live. Alright, we should be live. Welcome in to the Off-Brand Avalanche podcast. This is our first playoff win of the year, our series win of the year, and it was a good one. Back-to-back 7-1 wins to cap it off. We tuned in to watch a hockey game today, and instead we got to see an execution. So, how did you guys feel about that?
Great game by the Avs. Great game. There's not enough to say about this team, honestly. I know it's just Arizona, but this is the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, there's really not too much else to be said right now. Someone should just tell the Avs to stop playing football. Just kidding. I like when they're playing football.
All these touchdowns.
Yeah, I was a little bit worried we weren't going to get the extra point there, but apparently Confer's a pretty good kicker, so
knocked it back. Yeah, that one was nice. It was. So to me, when Kadri scored that first goal, I was like, okay, the Avs are winning this game. And then Girard scored the second one on the power play, and I was like, okay, so this is gonna go like that. It's just gonna be a blowout.
So, Arizona should definitely not take penalties. I mean, I guess they're eliminated now.
Yeah,
whoever we play in the second round should not take penalties against us because our power play is looking insane.
Yeah, let's talk about the power play because we all year kind of had to complain about how we have Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Mikko Rantanen, Gabe Landeskog, and Nazem Kadri, and somehow we still didn't have a very good power play. Something clicked in the last 3 or 4 games, really the entire bubble, but the last couple games in particular. And this power play looks as good as any around the league.
I mean, yeah, when you're combining that type of talent, on the ice at one time against a 4-man unit, eventually it's bound to start clicking, right? Maybe there was just like a little bit of time to figure it out during the regular season because Cale Makar is still a rookie. Nazem Kadri was a new addition, but like that being said, like those are still 2 very, very, very highly skilled players and should be contributing more on the power play. And finally, they've figured it out. And if the Avs, continuing on in this playoffs, can continue that type of success on the power play, I mean, I don't know who's going to stop us,
Right. The Avs power play right now is just looking so dynamic. They're doing it in multiple different fashions on the power play, whether that be a 1T or just a setup from the point like we saw in the Girard goal. And it's just scary. They're not a one-trick pony on the power play like
no.
You've seen maybe Washington have, always looking for Ovi in that corner.
Yeah.
It's just so dynamic to watch these guys on the power play right now.
Yeah.
Both lines, too.
They're moving the puck really well, and really to me the difference is that they're putting the shots on goal. That earlier in the year, they would just pass it around up top for days, and it looked really nice, and they would just never actually take that shot. I think they're doing that really well. Now they're finally starting to look towards the net more, and the other thing is they're doing a better job of using the middleman, and that's been Kadri, and that's why he's been scoring. They're passing it to him, they're getting the one-touches, bouncing it around, and then getting shots from the slot.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not specifically just the first power play. I've liked what I've seen for the second power play unit too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I feel like Girard's been really good on the second power play. Just making his nice passes. Girard is never going to have like a rocket, bomb from the point, but he still like is one of the better passing defensemen in the league. So I definitely like the second power play, but the first power play has just been dynamic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the second power play putting up goals in this series as well. Girard's today, and Burakovsky's in Game 3 technically was not on the power play. It literally, he scored the same second that the power play expired. So, really, the second unit has 2 goals as well in this series. And, I mean, if you're getting 2 goals in 5 games from your second power play unit, you know something's working.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a question. I mean, the Avs were looking pretty freaking good like the first few games, right? But then something has clicked in which they absolutely just baffled Darcy Kemper in the last 2 games. So what do you think that difference was?
I mean, they came out angry. They looked like in the first Darcy Kemper was rolling because the Avs. I don't want to say they let him get rolling, but he got those first couple of saves and then heated up as the games went on in games 1 through 3. In game 4 and 5, the Avs came out firing their best shots right off the bat, and didn't let Kemper get hot. Really, like he let in 9 goals in 2 games, and not one of them would I say like he absolutely should have had. There were a couple that maybe if he was as hot as he had been, he could have saved, but the Avs got to him early and didn't look back.
Yeah, I would agree. It's definitely the amount of shots that we put on Kemper that didn't let him get hot. Coming off game 3, that killer game that Kemper had, coming into the back to back on game 4, putting up another 50 shots. You just can't ask Kemper to do this over and over and over. McKinnon touched on this a little bit in the second period in his intermission interview, how exactly that, just putting on shots on Kemper is going to eventually break down the whole squad, and we saw that's exactly what it did.
Well, and I feel like maybe the first series against Nashville played a little bit of a part in that. It's like, how many times is a guy going to have to make 50 saves in a game?
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe he finally just burned out, you know? It's like, Good God, people, like teammates, can we play a little bit of defense here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, the Coyotes let Kemper down big time. I think that halfway through last game, the rest of the team quit on the series and just left Kemper out to dry, and it got ugly.
Yeah,
very ugly. They let Kemper in for the whole second period. He had 6 goals on him. They should have. Like, I totally agree. That's not cool. On
they should have pulled him after
Dave Tippet's part. Mm-hmm. Yeah. After the third goal, I totally agree.
That's where it started to look ugly at that point to me, and that's where I'm like, all right, let's just give Kemper a break here. And apparently, the Coyotes didn't agree. You got to think there's coaching changes there, right?
Yeah, I absolutely think so because Kemper's the star of this team, and if he's not pleased with the way like this game went and even last games went, then like you're gonna either choose Kemper or Rick Tocchet. Is that
Rick Tocchet?
Yeah, Tocchet. I can never. Yeah, but I would think that there might be. Yes, Billy.
Yeah,
I would agree. There's probably some turnover coming. Actually, after the GM quit.
Yeah.
Probably about a month ago now.
Even more reason.
So,
Chikra?
John Chikra.
John Chikra. They have.
You know how it is. The GM always wants to bring in their guy, so I'm not sure if that guy is Rick Tocchet in this case.
He didn't make a very strong case for himself today. The one of the most important things you can do as a coach. Yes, your systems are important, but you have to motivate your players, and the team that we saw in the last 5 periods of this series did not look like they had any interest in staying in the bubble. They looked like the team that we saw today looked like they packed their suitcases before the game.
Yes, absolutely. They packed their suitcases before game 4 too. It's like, good God. This is, and we've been saying it, Billy, like at the beginning of the series, it would have not been a surprise, and it wasn't a surprise that Arizona could come out like a little bit hot and steal a game or two for a couple of reasons because of Kemper, and then another reason, like they already played a little bit of a playoff series. So I feel like that's another kind of factor in which the Avs are still just kind of figuring out the actual playoff, mode. They were in these round robin seeding game type things and not necessarily in a series, and I feel like it just took them a few games to actually just start absolutely firing on cylinders.
Yeah,
I would agree with that as well. You actually also see what's going on in that Blues and Canucks series. How the Blues came out, they lose 8 in a row, and then they come back and play really strong defensive games and win the next 2. So it's probably just to take the Avs a couple games to find that playoff stride.
Yeah, to be honest, it's kind of been consistent throughout the entire league. It's like with Tampa, they came out a little slow. Philly came out a little slow. Boston came out slow. And then all of a sudden, it's like once they find their playoff stride, there's a reason that those 4 teams each were automatic bids to make it.
Yeah. So let's move forward now. So, that series is behind us. Big win. We need to carry the momentum. But let's talk about round two. Who do you guys want? Like, first of all, like the three teams we could theoretically play now that Vegas has advanced are Dallas, St. Louis, or Vancouver. Of those three, who do you want?
I want Vancouver. I mean, I feel like not only would that series be a little bit in favor of the Avs against the other two teams, just because Vancouver likes to play the style of like up tempo offensive hockey like the Avs like to do, but it would just also be very exciting to watch. Just in
Yeah.
terms of like offensive firepower, there's a lot of stuff going on. It would be a highly skilled series, and that would be a very fun series to watch. Just two young teams that possess a lot of offense. That would be my favorite series, but we'll just have to see.
What do you think?
Yeah, I think that would definitely be my favorite series to watch theoretically, because that series would play into both those teams' strong points being offense, and we'd see probably a ton of goals, and that'd be really fun to watch. But the team that I probably want to play the most is Dallas. I just think they just can't score, and the Avs are really good defensively, and I feel like we could just put a clinic on Dallas as well.
Yeah, I agree with you, Zach. I think between the two, I'm leaning towards wanting Dallas. I think that we'd be. I don't think that either the Canucks or the Stars would be a massive problem for us, but we just played stylistically a team very similar to Dallas. We already proved we know how to handle that. We proved that we can win the close games and we can blow them out if they decide not to score. So I really like the idea of playing Dallas. The good news is that is probably our most likely opponent. They're winning their series 3-2 right now. If they finish it off, then we get them, and that's as simple as it gets. So you like to see that. We all seem to be in agreement that we don't want St. Louis. St. Louis, to me, easily the third best team in the conference. Let them and Vegas go beat each other up, and that is like the perfect scenario for us.
Yeah.
Wait, really quick. I don't think it's possible for us to play Vancouver.
Yeah, if Calgary beats Dallas and then Vancouver beats St. Louis, we'd play Vancouver.
Okay. I kind of forgot about Calgary, to be honest.
Yeah, we're already penciling in Dallas as the winner of that series a little bit. I do think Dallas wins that series. I don't know if they do it in game 6 or 7, but I think Dallas is the slightly better team. Not that I think either team is particularly good.
I mean, I would much rather play Dallas than St. Louis. I would rather play Dallas or Vancouver over St. Louis. So, as long as we can stay away from St. Louis in the second round, then
Yeah.
I am liking our chances to make the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah, basically, I
Yeah.
think you're right on there, Marshall. If you're asking me who I want to play in the second round, it's like, just not St. Louis. I'm fine with either of the other
Yeah,
two.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And like you said, Billy, it would be awesome for Vegas and St. Louis to go beat each other up a little bit, and then get them warmed up for the Western Conference Finals against the Avs.
Yeah, let the Avs take care of Dallas in 5 or 6, and then have Vegas and St. Louis beat each other up in 7, and we'll take the winner in the conference final.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Were you guys at all surprised about any of these series? Like who the winners were, and at least from what we know so far.
I was surprised at how quickly Tampa got it done. I thought, like, I picked Tampa to win that series. I thought it was going to take them 6 or 7.
I kind of agree with you, Billy. That is not as surprising to me though as the Carolina Boston series.
That's true. I did pick Carolina, so that one was pretty surprising.
I definitely picked Carolina. I picked Carolina to go to the Eastern Conference Finals, so there goes my bracket.
Yeah, that is definitely a bracket killer. Zach, you are the only one that did take Boston, and even you took them in 7. So that one definitely a bit of surprise.
Right. It probably hurts a little bit without Snechkov there. It was a hard fought series though.
Yeah.
It's not like they got steamrolled like the Coyotes did.
I'd be a little bit concerned for Boston because Pasternak, he's back now, but I don't know, is he still hurting a little bit? And then you lost Tuukka Rask, so to me that is a massive, massive blow for Boston, and I think they're just deep enough, and Halak is not enough of a drop off that they were still able to get through Carolina. When they run into Tampa, or if they make it past them and they run into Philly or they run into the Islanders or even the Caps if they make it out, whoever they run into, I think that Boston's going to have a real tough time from here on out.
I definitely
Yeah.
think so. I mean, in my opinion, Tampa's still looking like the favorites out east.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with that.
Hmm.
And I mean, it's going to be a dogfight in the West right now because I mean, both Vegas and Colorado have played some fantastic hockey.
Yeah, and both of them did a good job of closing out their series. The Avs, after dropping Game 3, just came out and dominated their last two. The way Vegas came from behind after they let Chicago get up on them in that last game was
Yeah.
impressive to me. Because they could easily have said, whatever, this is a 3-1 series. We got two more shots at this. We'll let them have it. But they did not. They took advantage of the fact that they had 3 games. They said, we're going to get the rest. We're going to close out the series right now.
Yep.
Hmm.
Go ahead,
Yeah, I
Zach.
guess that's the one thing that really scares me about Vegas. In the play-in round against St. Louis, actually, they came back and scored 2 goals in the last like 10 minutes of the game to end up winning. So Dallas, they got, or I mean, not Dallas, Vegas, they got some clutch players that can, just do it whenever. And look, have not been in that position where we need to score late goals, but that's one thing that scares
Yeah,
me about
Vegas.
Vegas for sure.
Other than Kadri.
Yeah, that's true, but we weren't down too. You know what I mean?
And it was also not in the actual series. It was against St.
Right.
Louis in the round robins. But still, that's if you're talking about late goals, then you gotta like bring
The
that one
Avs,
up.
they also did in the game against Vegas score that late one in the third to tie it 3-3. Although they ended up losing the game in overtime. I think that both of those teams. I just don't see any way that anyone other than one of those two gets out of the West because they just, to me, seem head and shoulders better than St. Louis, who is my third.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
would definitely agree with that. And St. Louis is miles ahead of even Dallas. So that's kind of how the West is tiered right now. As in Vegas, way above St. Louis way above the rest of
Yeah.
the field. So
So we're going to get into a full breakdown of the next series, hopefully on Friday if we know what it is. If not, then we'll save it a little bit, but we'll have a full series breakdown. But today, we're not doing a full pod. We'll just do a little shorter one. Let's just finish off with a little bit of a victory lap. What was just your favorite part of the series? Let's start with you, Zach.
Probably just Kadri all around,
That's a
just
good one.
doing his thing. He was not. I don't want to say a surprise, but it's great to see him put up 11 points. So.
Yeah.
yes, mine would be that the Avs decided to play football in the
Put up
last
a
two
couple of
games,
touchdowns.
and scored an avalanche of goals. Sorry, Avs and everyone else. I coined that term. Just kidding. But yeah, I was talking to you guys about it earlier. I wanted to see like one of those games. We didn't really think it was going to happen just because of the way Darcy Kemper was playing. But then the Avs decided, here you go, Marshall. Just get two right like back to back here. So I love that. I love high scoring games, especially when the Avs are doing it because the offense on this team
Yeah.
can put
I
up
mean,
these
to
type of
me, the
games.
best thing was just watching how the Avs handled Kemper because Kemper was crazy. It was a pain in the ass to deal with, but both in game 1 when they dropped 3 goals in a minute and a half, the way they handled it that time, and then the way they came out in games 4 and 5 and just lit him up. I loved how, like, despite
Mhm.
as good as we talk about how Darcy Kemper played, the Avs didn't even let the Coyotes make this a series out of that. They still just blew him out of the water.
Yep. I definitely think that's a good point, Billy. Really quick, do you want to give our 3 stars of
Yeah,
the
let's do
entire
it.
series?
I'll start with okay, so this is tough between McKinnon and Kadri. I think I'm gonna go with McKinnon at 1. He is the guy leading the league in postseason points right now, and I think it's a tough call. I think a lot of people would give Kadri the edge, but part of that is just that it wasn't as expected. We expect McKinnon to dominate. We don't
Yes.
expect Kadri to dominate in the way that he has, but no knock on Kadri. I think I've seen a little bit more out of McKinnon. So I'm giving him the 1, Kadri the 2. As far as the 3, it's a little bit tougher, but I think you could go in a lot of directions. I'm going to give it to Grubauer. It's a little bit unsung just because Arizona didn't put a lot of shots on net. They let in a little bit of a fluky one today, but Grubauer played really well throughout the series. And in games 1 and 2, when the Avs weren't scoring 7 goals in the game, they actually really did need Grubauer to hold as strong as he did.
Yes. Yeah, I totally agree. Billy, I have the same 3 as you, but I'm just switching up Kadri and McKinnon. You kind of touched on it. I just think that in terms of like expected value in compared to like how they actually performed, you got to give the nod to Kadri. I mean, you weren't expecting him to put up 11 points, so I think his performance has been absolutely amazing so far, and I think I keep going and touching back on it. I think Saka kind of knew this all along. But then McKinnon 2, Grubauer 3, for the same reasons. McKinnon's leading this team, and then Grubauer did absolutely nothing to put the Avs behind in this series.
I also have to go Kadri 1, McKinnon 2. And for the sake of picking someone different, I'm going to go with the fourth line on just all together, the fourth line on 3. Yeah, they played really well, just grinded it out when they need to. I believe Nieto, he had a couple, and Calvert had one last game. So they stepped up when they needed to.
And Belmar has looked, dude, and the way that Belmar has looked is really good. It's very promising. He hasn't got a goal, hasn't really been showing up on the stat sheet, but he is contributing in small ways all over the ice.
He's good against Vegas, so look out in the Western Conference Final. I'll bury one that way.
Yeah.
He's an absolute superstar against Vegas.
I love the way the full bottom 6 played, to be honest. And shout out to JT Compher. Put up another goal today. He's been looking really good in this postseason, and it's the reason we gave him a long-term contract in the offseason. So if he keeps that up, he's going to be our third-line center for years to come, and I love that.
Yeah. He's just our Swiss Army knife, man. I mean, JT Compher is just for the boys.
All right. Any last things you guys want to talk about before we just go ahead and pop out of here for today?
Nothing for me.
Yeah.
Gotta love the win. Go. Thanks to all our viewers. It looks like we still got a couple live viewers in the stream, so go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and check out our podcast wherever you want. We've also got our sports pod. And we'll see you in our next episode.
Let's go, baby.
Can't even see it.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, now you can. I love it, though.